black people. It's all about their unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like Dr. King, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality's temple. Reality's temple. My black people, it's all about their unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like Dr. King, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality's temple.
Who hates his race and you're looking high and low? Well, look no further, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Crispy Show.
What up, everybody?
Hi, my name is Deborah Kennedy. I live in Texas, and I listened to Taaliq's video regarding failure of prayer and God's so-called promises. Things. I was just delighted. I thought it was just very insightful, and I commend you all for putting something out there like that. That we lean too much on what we're told somebody else is looking out for us, and we have philosophies or teachings like that, and we're supposed to be developing that in ourselves. And I appreciate Taaliq's his powerful delivery. You don't need to call if you're busy, but I just want to pass that along. I was very impressed. Thank you so much. You take care now. Peace and love.
Yes, Brother Taaliq, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I am Minister John Cooper. I live in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. And I was watching, someone had sent me a video, and I was watching it, and I think yours popped up on the sidebar. I never heard of it before. When you get time, give me a call if you can. I did a sermon and finally got a chance to do it at church. I am a minister, but I'm not active in the pulpit. I'm deciding to speak, basically trying to teach and getting our people ready and those that will listen. And this minister allowed me to do a lesson this past Tuesday night. Basically, my wife said, "Man, you were saying the same thing this guy's saying now, John," and it just blew her mind. And I just thought to present to that congregation who we were, and we don't want to be black, and what is happening to America. It is falling, and those kinds of things. And they were looking at me with their mouth hung open, and half of them probably couldn't receive it, half did. And I just want to commend you for your work that you're doing, and I'm looking at some of your other videos now. And any way you can help me, if you got a mailing list, I can get on, or email list or anything, I would appreciate that help. And the material you have that I can continue to teach and get out to our people, because it's a critical time right now. God bless you, and I'll look for your call.
Get rid of them. Put people in that community who are socially aware. Do not put people in that community to police that community who do not live in that community. Darren Wilson did not live down there where he was telling the grand jury, "Oh, that's gang area. No one likes that area." Right then and there, he was prejudicing the whole situation. He was poisoning the entire situation. Now let's listen to a little bit of what Ray Hagins has to say here.
There and said, "Rev, before you step in this and make yourself look bad, let me tell you, that whole presentation was a lie. It came out over the television. The whole thing."
Now Ray Hagins says someone told him, "Rev, before you step off into this and make yourself look bad, let me tell you that what the media is saying is totally not true." Well, that is not true. What the media is saying is partially true, and some of it is not true. The media often tell you half-truths. And people who are willing to spend the time and do the work, who are not lazy, they will go through and cut and dice what the mainstream media is saying, and then they will present to you what is true and what is not true. And sometimes it is exactly what they're not saying is where you will find the truth. But Ray Hagin is telling you that someone told him that what the media is saying is not true. Okay, let's see what he has to say about what is true. Because where Ray Hagin is going to go is to what the police is saying. The police report, as if the police is the epitome and the example of truth. Really? Really, Brother Ray? Really? Now I'm calling you out on it. That's right. That's right.
What makes me angry is how the media has manipulated the masses all over the world and literally got people marching and protesting saying justice for Michael Brown. Let me deal with that for a moment. Everybody say...
Literally, Ray Hagin is saying the media, through its lies, have got the people all over the world marching for justice for Michael Brown. Now, Ray, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. All around the world, the people know that Michael Brown did not have to die on that day. And they know that Darren Wilson was not beaten up. They saw his face. They see the pictures of his face. And you're trying to tell these black youth, trying to dupe them with half-truths and outright lies. Oh, well, T. West, are you saying that Pastor Hagin is lying? You're damn right. He's telling lies also. That's right. Now, prove me wrong, because I was certainly, and I'm certainly going to prove him wrong. Let's continue.
There's no such thing as justice for a person. There's no such thing as justice for a person. Please understand that. When we say we want justice, you know what we mean? What we mean is I want y'all to give us what I want. I want you to do what I think needs to be done. That's not justice. Justice is the result of the accumulation of the facts.
Now, right here where he says that what black folk are saying when they say they want justice, that what black folks are saying, we want you to give us what we want. Now he's playing black folks for fools, for being stupid. Black folks know what justice is. They know what right and wrong is. The overwhelming majority of black folks do. In fact, far more than pale-skinned people. I recall that before the United States under George W. Bush and Cheney attacked Iraq, that 76%, more than 76% of pale-skinned people in America believed the lie about WMDs being in Iraq. Now it was the opposite with blacks. Over 77% of blacks believe that the American government was lying. So black people have a much better sense of truth, of justice, than do pale-skinned cops, than do the average pale-skinned person in America. But Ray Hagin is trying to play you all for being dumb. Yes, I'm calling you out, brother. I'm calling you out because you have told an outright lie, and you're saying this to these young brothers, and it's unacceptable.
Okay, that's justice. That's truth. Justice is based on truth. Justice is not based on mass manipulation by the media. Did y'all hear what I just...
That is true. Justice is based on truth. It's supposed to be based on truth. But justice is not based upon mass manipulation of a police department along with elements within the media. Traditionally and historically in America, police and the mass media have worked hand in hand to denigrate black people in America, not only in America but throughout the world. Now prove me wrong if I'm wrong. Mass media and the police, both of them are main organs of the system of whiteism. Not white supremacy, that's a myth, but whiteism, that ugly thing that destroys, that kills, that steals, that connives, that has great envy. Such envy that if the black man, black woman is doing well, then that black man, that black woman become a target. That's whiteism.
Trust me, family, everything that you heard over the news media was misinformation.
Now he said, trust me, family. Trust me, family. He's calling you all family. Everything that was said by mass media is misinformation. Not some, not 20%, not 30%, not 95%, but everything that mass media has said is misinformation. Now only a fool would believe that. Only a fool. As I said, the media works along and in behalf of, more times than not, for the benefit of whiteism. That's a fact. But this is not a true statement from Ray. It's simply not true.
Situation? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. This is one of the reasons why I tell people, read the transcripts. Don't take the media. Read the transcripts.
Now he's telling you to read the transcripts. Now I just read a little bit from the transcript just now. And apparently he isn't really reading the transcript. Because as we go on with this, you're going to see where he's going to be telling untruths and half-truths. And I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to prove that they're not true.
Okay? What actually happened without going through the whole day?
Yeah, I just was getting mixed messages. That's why I need you here, because I feel like you can get me closer to the truth.
Okay. What actually happened is Michael Brown did rob the store. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He committed a crime. The crime is called strong arm robbery. If he hadn't committed that crime, he'd be alive today. Okay, because when the officer...
Now, he is stating that Michael Brown robbed the store. Strong arm robbery, he took the cigars, and had he not committed that crime, he would be alive today. That's not true. Darren Wilson, the cop, did not know anything about Mike Brown taking any cigars from that store. That's right. He knew nothing about it. There is nothing in the transcript anywhere to indicate that Darren Wilson knew that it was Michael Brown and Darren Johnson, whatever his name is, his friend, who took cigars from that store. No evidence of that. Yet Ray Hagin has proclaimed that he would be alive today had he not taken those cigars from the store. Giuliani's daughter, former mayor of New York, shoplifting. She wasn't killed. You have the biggest shoplifters, so happens to be pale-skinned people. But rarely are any of them killed. So what Hagin is really telling you is that had he not done this, he would be alive today. Well, Darren Wilson, once again, did not know that Michael Brown was a suspect in the taking of cigars from that store. That's a fact. That's a reality. Let's see what else Ray Hagin has to say.
Rolled up on him and told him to get out of the street. That's what that was about. Okay, they were walking down Miller Street. They told him to get out of the street.
Okay. He said when the officer rolled up, now he's giving Darren Wilson authority. Officer. Now you're not going to, you will rarely ever hear me call them officers, because this kind of cop is not an officer. He's a cop. When he rolled up, Ray Hagin says, that is what that was all about. That's a damn lie. That is not what it was all about. It had nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. And as I've said in the past, when you look at that street, and it's not even a street, it's a lane. It's actually a drive. It's called drive. Meaning that it is not a high traffic, vehicle traffic street. It's lower traffic in that area. It's a residential area. Boys, teenagers play ball and skateboard in that street. That's right. That's right. And you have this bully cop who comes along, get the F out of the street. Now that's what he said. Now, of course, Darren Wilson tells the jurors that he asked them politely to move off of the street. But that wasn't the case. And then it is reported that Michael Brown said something to him. So the cop backed up, quickly backed up, probably nearly hit Michael Brown and his friend. Now that's enough to piss you off right there. And then grabbed Michael Brown's arm. That's in the transcript. He grabbed Michael Brown's arm. Michael Brown did not grab him. Michael Brown did not attack him. He's grabbing Michael Brown's arm. And then eventually he shoots Michael Brown. And then Michael Brown starts running. And then Darren Wilson gets out of the SUV and starts shooting multiple times at Michael Brown, hitting him a few times. Michael Brown's back is turned. He's running. That's the first thing you do when someone have a gun. You don't. You run. You look for shelter. Try to hide somewhere. But then he was hit again. He couldn't run any further. These bullets are hitting him. He turns around, starts to lift up his hands. And then he's shot. And when you're shot already, you're probably leaning over. Then he starts falling. And then he's hit in the head by Darren Wilson. Now Hagin is pretending like he was there. That's right. And he was not there. And he is not telling you, even according to the transcripts, what happened. He's telling you Darren Wilson's story. And Darren Wilson was trying to save his ass. So he was lying his little ass off. And Ray Hagin wants you to believe that.
As he pulled off, okay, he noticed the cigars in his hand. That's when he backed up. And also as he pulled off, because he told me out of the street, Michael Brown had uttered some words to the officer. Okay, he backed up, and when he backed up to confront them, that's when this altercation took place.
Now Ray Hagin claims he was walking down the middle of the street, talking about Michael Brown and his friend, down the middle of the street. There are testimonies in the transcript that no witnesses said that Michael Brown and Dorian Johnson were walking on the side of the street. They were in the street, but on the side of the street, not in the middle of the street. Not where Michael Brown was gunned down, which was right in the middle of the street. That is not where it started at. So Ray Hagin is not telling you the truth.
He noticed the cigars in his hand.
Now Ray Hagin says he noticed the cigars in his hand. Really? Not true. Not true. Darren Wilson is making up things. He's making up things as he go in the testimony to the grand jury. And Ray Hagin is feeding you exactly what Darren Wilson was feeding the grand jury. And there was already testimony from the cops that Darren Wilson did not know that Mike Brown was a suspect in a strong-arm robbery. But then, because they have time to lie, just as they had time to remove the blood from the handle of the gun, which was evidence, now they have time to plan their lie and their lies. Again, Ray Hagin is feeding these lies to you, to our young people. This is unacceptable. Let's go on.
He didn't even get, he called in, he called in and he had identified the two that came over the radio call description from the store. But he didn't get to that point. He never got to that point because when he backed up, and he backed up aggressively. Maybe he should not have done that. He backed up aggressively.
Okay. Now he's saying that the cop, Darren Wilson, called in. And Darren Wilson has backed up now to where Michael Brown is. Now what Ray Hagin is not going to tell you, and it was a part of the transcript also, he's telling you totally Darren Wilson's story. But even Darren Wilson tells you that he reached out the window and grabbed Michael Brown's arm. That's where he was talking about, oh, he was so strong. It was like I was holding on to the Incredible Hulk. It was like I was a little kid. And he's no little kid. He's at least 210 pounds, 6'4". He's no little kid. He's a bully. So, Ray Hagin is misleading you.
And when he backed up, it left Michael and Dorian right there at the police cruiser. An altercation ensued. Yes, it did, between Michael Brown and the law enforcement officer, where Michael Brown did assault the officer.
Okay, listen to what Ray Hagin says. He totally skipped over what I just said. It was the cop who reached out the window and with his left arm grabbed Michael Brown. First, he backed up quickly in a threatening way that could have injured or killed both Dorian Johnson and Michael Brown had the car hit them. Then he grabs Michael Brown's arm. And then Ray Hagin skips all over that. He then talks about then an assault ensues. Michael Brown assaults the cop. Again, he's telling Darren Wilson's story. But he's not even telling the whole story of Darren Wilson. I mean, really, Ray, really. This is absurd. Just simply absurd. I mean, I'm a scholar, and you claim to be a scholar. And I'm easily cutting through this weak case that you're dishing to these young brothers. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, brother. That's right. You should be ashamed of yourself. Let's listen to some more of this.
Michael was high. That's the truth.
Michael was high. That's the truth. Michael Brown was high. That's the truth. Marijuana? Well, they're legalizing that doggone drug all across the country now. He was high. This is the typical story of a cop. And we can put Ray Hagin in that category. A cop. Oh, he was on some drugs. He was so strong. The drugs made him strong. We remember the story about Rodney King and what these pale-skinned people would say. Oh, these black folks. And it wasn't the first time. This mess started way back at the turn of the beginning of the 1900s with cocaine. It makes these Negroes strong. It makes them sassy. It makes them want to raise up against you. This is what the pale-skinned people were saying over 100 years ago regarding cocaine. That was a time when they were putting cocaine in Coca-Cola and giving women these tonics, which was cocaine. And it was when black folks started getting a hold to it that they eventually said, no, we're going to have to make this stuff illegal, which was good. I don't believe in you using any of those doggone drugs, including marijuana. That's right. Sorry, Rasta brothers. That's right. You have all that you need up here. Your Creator endowed you with all of that. You don't have to go out there and get some of these drugs to help your head, to help your mind. You need to be sober with your mind, with the ability to think clearly, to think straight. Let's go on. Let's see what else Brother Ray have to say.
In fact, he and Dorian had been smoking since about 8 o'clock that morning. Okay, so both of them were high. He and Dorian were high. You know. Now trust me, I'm there.
Now he says, Ray Hagin tells you, now trust me. Now trust me. I'm there. Now trust me. I'm there. No, he's not there. He's not there. He was not there. He did not witness any of this. But he's acting as though he was there. Now he's going to explain what he meant by I'm there. Okay? No. He is not there.
Okay, y'all only thing y'all know is what news has told y'all. I'm there on the ground. You follow what I'm saying? Okay.
So he's telling you, oh, no. Y'all don't know nothing. I am there on the ground. I'm the one who knows. I'm Moses. I was on the mountaintop. I know because I got it from the good God Almighty. Whitey. The pale-skinned man. The cops. I got it. I know. Y'all don't, Negroes. Y'all don't. So I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you how it really is. And then he comes to you with the same Darren Wilson story. And wants you all to swallow it like dumb sheep. Dumb lemmings. Really. Now I told you this was going to get hot and heavy, and I told you I would cut right through this BS. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Because it's brothers like this who mislead our people. And they, oh, I've got this title. I'm Dr. So. Oh, I got a PhD in this and that. Oh, I got this or that credentials. The greatest credentials anyone could have is a thinking mind and the truth. Now I'll cut through every doggone PhD you got out there. Bring the lies in here and watch me cut right through it. Clear minds, clear thinking, where the agenda is the truth. Let's move on.
But you were there at the scene. No, that happened. No, I wasn't at the scene. But I am there on the ground. Yeah, but I'm saying none of those.
So the brother who was at the table with him, the older brother, he tells him that you, Ray Hagin, you was not at the scene. And he's correct. Hagin was not there. He didn't witness anything. He didn't see anything. What he is doing, he is regurgitating only a small part. And he isn't doing that very well of the transcript. And I've already told you more about the transcript than he's told you. Already. I told you a big key point. And I read it directly from the transcript, which is that the evidence was tampered with. I told you that Michael Brown was a suspect, not the victim. I told you that Darren Wilson, the killer, the cop, was called the victim. The victim. So, pale-skinned devil killed one of your children, killed a black child and everything, and so that black child is a suspect, not the victim. That pale-skinned cop is the victim. That's America. That's their legalese. That's their justice. Or as some have said for years, for them it means just us, just them. Not you, black folk. I told you I'm going to cut right through this, and when I'm done with it, I will leave no stone unturned. Let's go on.
Those factors, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm finding it hard to I understand that. And I need y'all to leave your emotions out of this.
I just want to hear
she wanted to hear from me.
So I can cipher
right?
out what.
So Ray, as this older brother is trying to talk at the table, who's up there on the, it's sort of like a panel. He's up front with Ray Hagin. Ray Hagin puts his hands on his arm and pretty much telling him, hey, you quiet down, let me talk. let me talk. That's what he's telling the brother. He doesn't want to be challenged. But right here, you see, he has no power over Afrosynergy. I've got the video. And I'm going to cut and dice it however I choose fit to do so. And all of you are open to comment on it. Whether you support what Hagin is saying or not, you can comment on it. But you better come with the truth, or I'm going to embarrass you. That's right. Do your research first before you come here. So he's trying to tap the brother down. No. That's right. He wants his spin, well, how he's spinning it, to prevail in the minds of these young men who are sitting in the audience. Now, of course, in the very back of the room, there's a pale-skinned guy with a big old, long, Grizzly Adam beard. Now, sometimes we know what that's about, don't we? And they don't always come in that pigmentation. Some of these brothers who are the most melanated are not your brothers, are not your sisters. They come and they roll up in there in the interest of your archenemy. Let's move on.
Okay, and I'm telling you the testimony of eyewitnesses. 2 of them go to my church in St. Louis. One of the sisters was...
So Ray Hagin is saying, there's a person talking in the audience out there, sounds like a female. So Ray Hagin says, she wants to hear from me. In other words, telling the other brother sitting up there, you know, hey, brother, be quiet. She wants to hear from me. You know, after all, I got it from the mountaintop. I'm Moses. I got it from God himself. You know, I got it from what you Negroes call the man. That white dude. That pale-skinned dude. So I'm the authority here. That's what he's saying. No, T. West, he's not saying that. Oh, yes, he is. So far, he has only told you the story of Darren Wilson. That's right. Darren Wilson. Let's move on.
One of the sisters was watched the whole thing from inside her car. The news media ain't tell y'all that. You follow what I'm saying? I'm there.
Right.
Okay? So, thank you for asking to hear from me. Okay? An altercation did ensue. Yes, he fought the officer, and the officer shot him from inside the vehicle. That's when he took off running.
I want y'all to give us what we want. Nonsense. Nonsense. And we've seen, and we see it in his attitude sitting at the table. I want y'all to hear what I got to say. They want to hear me. This is Ray Hagin. They don't want to hear you. They want to hear me. Now that's his attitude. Black folks, as I've already said, are the most conscientious of what justice really is than probably any other group in America. Definitely far more than pale-skinned people. And Ray Hagin is here saying the opposite. I want y'all to give us what we want. And it don't matter if it's right or wrong. Give us what we want. It doesn't matter if it's justice. Give us what we want. Nonsense. Now, justice is based on truth. He has not provided any of the detailed evidence of the grand jury, the transcripts from the grand jury hearings. He hasn't done that. He hasn't done any of that. But yet he's trying to tell black folks who understand what's just and what's not just better than anybody what it is. I mean, that's an assault upon your intelligence. Playing you for stupid. Playing you for dumb. That's right.
Officer got out and gave chase. He ran about 150, according to the crime scene report, he ran about 153 feet and when he turned around. And when he turned around, he charged back at the officer 23 feet. I have the picture right here in my computer to show you that. From the blood trail.
You mean with the gun? He
Yes.
had a gun too?
No. He charged back at the, he was unarmed.
When you say charge back, that means
Coming toward the officer, yes. He ran back toward the officer for 23.5 feet. You got me? The blood trail shows that.
Now. He tells the listeners, I want y'all to leave your emotions, outside. Leave your emotions. No. It has nothing to do with emotions. When these persons think intelligently and ask the pertinent, the appropriate questions, it is, leave your emotions, da-da-da. That's just like saying, don't question me. Don't question me. What I speak is, you should not question me. Now, what sort of attitude is that? Okay. Now, he's talking about, well, one of these sisters from my church, she watched the whole thing from inside of her car. The news media did not tell you all that. There were over 40 witnesses. Over 40. And no one has heard the testimony outside of the grand jury and those who were in that room of all 40 plus. No one yet. So that says that there's a lot more work that needs to be done. That's right. A lot more work. But so far, Ray Hagin hasn't said anything because he wasn't there. This sister at the church, how has she been vetted? Was she really there? What is her eyesight like? Does she have any motives to say one thing versus saying something else? We're not going to believe, and you should not believe Ray Hagin's words just because he said that somebody else told me this. I wasn't there to witness it myself, but somebody else told me this. Where's the evidence? I'm there. No, he's not there. There are third parties that he claims that he knows who may have been there. Moving on.
See, this is what I mean. The media didn't tell you that. The media is not going to tell you that.
But why would
So now follow what I can't tell you why he ran back.
Okay.
Okay, all I can tell you is from the first shot, when he turned around and he started back toward the officer, from the first shot till he went down was 23.5 feet. The blood trail shows him running back that far. Before, when he got shot and when he stopped. Okay? Now, that is why the officer walked. That's the only reason why Officer Wilson was cleared of the charge.
That's right. Shot him from inside the vehicle. Get it right. Because later on, you're going to hear Hagin say that the first shot that he hit him with, and then Michael Brown turned around and started rushing towards the cop. And you see the blood trail. This is what Ray Hagin is saying later. You see the blood trail indicating that Michael Brown was attacking the cop. Michael Brown, if he was shot from inside the car, which there's testimony too, when the cop was in the car, he shot Michael Brown started running. And if he's bleeding, and depending on how heavily he's bleeding, he would already be leaving a blood trail while he's running away from the cop. Where is the blood on the gun? What happened to that blood? Ray didn't say anything about that. Ray didn't say anything about tampering with the evidence. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Again, why? Because he is presenting Darren Wilson's story. That is what he's doing.
Because of the forensic crime scene evidence showing him running from the driveway where he was standing on the sidewalk back 23.5 feet, which he ended up in the middle of the road. Okay? And this is the crime scene evidence that caused our people on the ground to call me and say, Rev, before you make yourself look bad, you need to know what really happened. Because that's not what the television media showed us. You see, when I first heard it on the media, I got infuriated. I was ready to go out there and da. You see what I'm saying? So he ran back toward the officer, and that's what gave the officer the justifiable right to shoot. Officers, we are trained to pull that trigger until the threat is eliminated. Did y'all just hear what I said? Yeah. We're trained to pull the trigger until the threat is eliminated. And again, here's the sick part about that. That's up to the officer. It's depending on what's going on in that cop's head.
And if he feels the threat.
And if he feels threatened, right. So he kept pulling the trigger until the brother fell. And of course, as he was going down, that was the last kill shot in the top of the head. You see? Now, again, the media didn't tell y'all that. And that's why everybody's inflamed. Here's what the media said. An unarmed black teenager, 18-year-old, was shot and killed by a white police officer. When I heard that, I got ballistic too. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I got ballistic, man. I went off until I examined the crime scene reports myself.
Okay. Hagins says, well, okay, the officer got out and gave chase. The only thing that was giving chase were bullets. That's right, bullets. We heard them in the recording. He wasn't running. The cop was not running and shooting. He stood and he started shooting. He even tells you that he was looking through his scope. Now imagine him trying to run and looking through his scope at the same time while he's trying to shoot. Darren Wilson told you in his testimony that I was looking through my scope. And then when the last bullet, I saw the last bullet when it struck. And then he landed face first on the ground. That's right. Now, he's firing. Wilson is firing as Michael Brown is running. He's shooting at him. He's hitting him with some of those bullets. Michael Brown knows that, after you get so many bullets, and if you get them in a certain place, you will either drop or you will probably turn around and say, hey, stop shooting at me. I give up. But no, that cop was having none of that. He had the same attitude that he had when he arrested that guy for taking a picture of him. Come on. I'm going to lock your ass up. Come on. That's right. But none of that aspect of his personality is allowed to be shown to the jurors. But how often do we see every piece of dirt dug up, or anything that they think is dirt and is not dirt, thrown in the air when these black youth are gunned down and killed by these cops? We saw with Trayvon and many others all across the country yesterday, today, and we're going to see it tomorrow. But yet, this cop, he does this. And you're not looking at his history. What is he like with those he's supposed to be serving as a law enforcement officer? What is he like? Oh, no, we can't. We're not going to show that. We're not going to show that. That's whiteism. That is whiteism. That is white privilege. Oh, no. We killed a black person. Oh, no. We're not going to show anything that will indict us. And Ray Hagin is supporting that right now. Now he has a picture to show you what. When was the picture taken? Remember now, the evidence says in this transcript that the official investigators did not take pictures of the crime scene because their battery was dead in their camera. So Hagin, where are you getting this picture from? Yeah, show it to us. Let's call your bluff so that we can question this picture that you're talking about. Where did you get it from? Who took it? It certainly wasn't the investigators, because they claim, again, their battery was dead in their camera. Now, when have you ever heard of such a thing as that? I mean, crime investigators. I mean, they robbed black people in Ferguson of tens of thousands of dollars by ticketing them. And that's part of the reason why the federal government is investigating them. That whole doggone police department should be disbanded. And never again should it be made up of a majority of pale-skinned cops. Never. Now, Ray Hagin claims that Michael Brown ran back towards the cop for 23.5 feet. Ran back in the direction of this cop for 23.5 feet. Okay, where's the evidence of that? Is he relying once again on Darren Wilson's words? Okay, if they're so precise about these measurements, oh, this many feet, that many feet, but yet they took no pictures of the crime scene, yet they washed the blood off of Darren Wilson's gun. It's all tampering with the doggone evidence. I said this from the very beginning. The longer you wait, the more chance and opportunity they have to tamper with the evidence. And that is exactly what they were doing. Hagin is not going to tell you anything about that. He isn't going to say anything about that. He's misleading you, and he's intentionally doing it. And then, of course, you must ask, why is he doing this? Well, you got a lot of brothers and sisters out there who's supposed to be brothers and sisters out there who have sold themselves out. They're acting as you. They're speaking in your vernacular. They're saying most of what you want them to say. They wrap themselves in the red, black, and green. But they are wolves. They are deceitful. They are not who they project themselves to be. Now, one brother, I commented out on Brother Irritated Genie's site, and one brother came out and said, what do you mean talking about the blood trail? The blood? I said, I didn't say that. Ray Hagin said that. The blood trail. Well, hey, guess what? Guess what? Well, I wanted to say dummy. Well, I am going to say it. Guess what, dummy? Blood trail will lead in both directions. He was shot, Michael Brown was shot at the car. That would mean that he would be bleeding. Do you want to talk about that blood trail? Do you? See, the truth, the whole truth. Some people don't want to deal with the whole truth. They will present half-truths and lies to you. But I'm going to cut through the half-truths and expose the lies. If you get shot, as I said earlier, you get shot at the car and you start running, eventually there will be a blood trail. And then when you turn around to raise your hands up, you will bleed. If you start stumbling forward, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, falling, trying to catch yourself, but falling, and then another bullet is put into the top of your skull, it's all a blood trail. Hagins is not going to talk to you and tell you that, because he does not intend to be totally honest with you. But you know I will. The media did not tell you that. The media did not tell you that. They're not going to tell you that. The words of Ray Hagin, I am the media. And I'm telling you that. I'm telling you the whole story. Ray Hagin is not the media. Ray Hagin is spreading propaganda. Propaganda to benefit the system of whiteism. That's what he's doing. I'm telling you the whole truth.
The media didn't show you that.
Can I ask the audience a question? Especially you young people there. Which one of y'all would run back towards an armed police officer who had already shot you? I mean,
Nobody in their right mind.
Nobody. I mean, it just defies common sense.
It defies common sense. But again, see, this is why. How many of y'all have seen CSI on television? Okay, see, that's the whole purpose of crime scene units. Okay, it's the evidence on the ground that tells you what happened. It paints the whole picture all over again for you. Okay, and the thing is, because the brother was not in his right state of mind. Okay, and see, another thing we need to check. Do I have y'all's permission to speak candidly?
Yes.
Permission to speak candidly.
Granted.
I'm not going to speak if you don't give me permission.
Sure.
Granted. Permission to speak candidly. Let's take the angel's wings off of this guy. We're acting like he was an upstanding citizen of the community. Like he was a pastor or a civil rights leader.
From the first shot until he went down, well, hell, brother, the first shot was at the car. He had already ran more than 120 feet. Already. What about that blood trail? Tell me, what about that blood trail? We heard the bullet shots. We heard it. As that brother was talking to some woman he was trying to date on the phone. We heard the bullet shots. He was shooting from where he was. Remember, he said that I looked through my focus on my gun. Again, imagine that. Someone running with their pistol, their revolver, and they try to look through their focus as they're running. Impossible. They don't do that. They aren't trained to do that. It's just ridiculous. Now he claims now that is why the cop walked. That's the only reason why the cop walked. Nonsense. He walked because the system wanted him to walk, and they had already set it up for him to walk. That is why they cleaned the blood off the revolver. That is why they left the body there in the street for 4 hours. That is why they showed up and did not take pictures at the crime scene. So, Brother Hagin, where did you get your doggone picture from? I want to see that picture. Show us that picture. And I guarantee you show me the picture, I guarantee you that I'll flip it and I'll turn it around and I'll embarrass you with it. And show you what you really don't know. Moving on.
We're talking a brother who was a, come on y'all, he was a member of,
okay. Notice Ray Hagin talks about Michael Brown standing on the driveway and the sidewalk, all that business. You notice that he started out stating that Michael Brown was in the middle of the street. This is what the cop said too. Michael Brown was in the middle of the street. There are another witness who says that Michael Brown, they were not in the middle of the street. They were walking along the side of the street, in the street, but along the side of the street, close to the sidewalk, but not on the sidewalk. And now you hear Hagin mention sidewalk. He mentions driveway. Okay? Now, and then he claims that this is the only reason why the cop got off, because of the forensic evidence. Well, blood on a gun is forensic evidence. It was cleaned off of that gun. What else was cleaned off? What other evidence was tampered with and changed? Hagins is not going to say anything about that because why? He is pushing and promoting the cop's side of the story. That's what he's doing. Now, notice he said officers. We, talking about him. He's a cop, or he's been a cop. He's been trained to be a cop. We are trained to pull that trigger. You know, it's the old blue thing again. This Negro is a quasi-cop, and he's promoting their agenda, and he's pushing it into the heads and minds of these young black youth. He's not credible. On this topic, he's not credible.
No, I'm not going to. No, I can't say that, brother. That's not young black man, brother. You don't know that. You don't know that. Yeah, but you do. I'm telling you. I'm bad, brother. I'm based on what? Okay. You wasn't at the crime scene. Based on what? Out of respect to the people we sitting in front of. Yeah, but don't disagree with me like that, man. No, man. But I'm disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. Personal. This is not personal. I'm not talking to person that's personal. If Obama was sitting there, I would raise the same issues with him, brother. Yeah. I'm telling you what happened. And you have to accept it. You're telling me from perspective. What better perspective to tell you? Man. Come on, man. What better perspective than that? This just doesn't make any sense to me.
Now, did you hear that again? We are trained, talking about him, to pull the trigger until the threat is eliminated. In other words, we can empty our revolver until that person is on the ground. Dead. That's right. The problem is that, Brother Hagin, too many of your brothers in blue are killing far too many of our black youth. The murder of 12-year-old Tamir Rice in Cleveland, just recently, by pale-skinned cops. Your brothers in blue. Unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And maybe you had some of your people on the ground there too. And maybe they can tell you something to support those boys in blue. I mean, I respect good cops.
You want to see a person who hates his race and you're looking high and low? Well, look no further, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Crispy Show.
What up, everybody?